Okay, I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. This video was not part of my content plan. I've kind of thrown it in there purely because there's been so much news and information circulating online recently about hashtags. And the main reason for this is because Instagram has actually come out and shared some pretty conflicting advice about hashtags versus the advice what they've shared in the past. And that's kind of nudged me to completely change or at least revisit my hashtag strategy. And I know how much you guys loved this video where I talked about my hashtag strategy and I told you my entire process behind it. So I felt like it was only right for me to create a new video where I'm sharing my updated strategy, and I'm also just giving you the lowdown of the changes which are coming to hashtags, what they mean for you and what you should be doing about it. So that's what today's video is about. If that sounds of interest to you, please carry on watching. Okay, so the first thing what I want to talk about is basically why I feel like you should change your hashtag strategy and why I'm changing my hashtag strategy. And the main reason for this, as I mentioned, is because some new updates have come out and some information has been shared from Instagram's creators account. I'll put the link in my description in case you don't follow it already, where they basically gave you some tips and tricks in regards to hashtags, and it's different from what we've been told before, right? And there's a siren outside. There's always sirens when I'm filming. I feel like there's never sirens when I'm not, but then again, why would I notice? Anyway, these changes, what are coming about, I believe are coming about for a very specific reason. And that reason is search. So if you've not watched this video already, I recommend giving it a watch after this. I basically break down what Instagram search is, what it means for you and how you can utilize it, right? It's kind of like a search 101 type video. And it gives you a really great introduction. But in a nutshell, what Instagram search is basically the little magnifying glass icon that you should see on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Everyone's Instagram looks different nowadays. So if it's not there for you, then it's usually where your explore section usually is. So if you head there, I'll do a little screen recording. You'll see at the top it says search. This is what Instagram search is. So you click on that, you can type in different keywords and it's going to produce content for you. Now, the reason why I'm talking about search in a video about hashtags is because Instagram is spending a lot of effort improving their search functionality. And what that means for hashtags is that hashtags are becoming less and less important. Previously, hashtags were one of the main ways that you could get in front of a different broader audience, right? If you use the hashtag, you would hopefully get placed in front of a whole audience of people who are interested in your types of content. Whilst that still exists and that's still the function of hashtags, there are now other ways for you to get in front of your audience, and Instagram are trying to make it that search is the best way to get in front of that audience. At least that's what I personally think that they're trying to do. They're spending so much time and effort in search because they want that feature to be the best way for people to find new content and for you to reach new people. So let's talk about what's changing in regards to hashtags and what is staying the same. Okay, so let's start with the changes. I'm laughing because the main change and the biggest change is that Instagram are now recommending that you use between 3 to 5 hashtags per post. Now, I don't even know where to start with this. First of all, that's quite an extreme difference to the amount of hashtags that they previously said. So prior to this recent announcement, they used to say use between 8 to 15 hashtags, but they said that because they believed that when people used more than 15 hashtags, they started using hashtags which were irrelevant. So actually, if you were using relevant hashtags which are related to your niche and which were well sized and you're using 30 of them, you are still going to get a really great reach and you've still got a great chance of showing up under all 30 hashtags. So that was my previous strategy. I used to use between 20 to 30 on every single post, and I did that because all of my hashtags were relevant, they were checked, they were niche, and I knew that they were going to be effective for my account, right? Whereas now they're saying use between 3 to 5, which is dramatically fewer. It also makes me think, on the off chance that someone from Instagram is watching this, I have a genuine question, right? Why are we able to use up to 30 hashtags if we should only use between 3 to 5? I just need someone to answer that question to me. I've always just found that baffling. And the only thing that I can assume, and again, if anyone's from Instagram's watching this, then please correct me. The only thing I can assume is that you're again recommending using 3 to 5 hashtags because of the same reason you're recommending 8 to 15, which is that when people use too many hashtags, they start using hashtags which are irrelevant. So things like hashtag explore page, hashtag Instagood, hashtag IG daily. I made that one up, but I guarantee you that's a hashtag what has like millions of posts under it. So I'm assuming, again, that is the reason why they're recommending even fewer hashtags than before. Now, the other change, I do this because it's only a very small change, that they've shared in this recent announcement is that they've said you should use a mix of hashtags between well-known and niche. Now, previously the advice was to kind of focus on purely your niche hashtags, whereas now they're saying actually use a good mix. use some hashtags which may have, you know, over 1 million posts on it, but don't use ones which are just vague and not related to you, but then also use hashtags which might only have a couple 100,000 posts under it. So they're basically promoting more of a mix of size between hashtags. And the reason why I said like new is because that's not massively new. That is something that I've always recommended for my clients, is that you use a mixture of hashtags between really, really small ones and kind of medium-sized ones. So it's a small change because they never necessarily said that before. It's just something that I said. So another major change which is worth talking about, and which I'm going to talk about in a bit more detail in a second, is the actual purpose of hashtags. So as I mentioned previously, hashtags existed so that people could find content related to one specific thing, but also so that the creator can actually reach a new audience by using a hashtag. Now, as I mentioned, they're dialing up their focus on search. So they're saying that actually your hashtags should be used as a way to help Instagram index your account. So by that, what I mean is categorize your content. If you're using certain hashtags to do with food, recipes, healthy eating, etc., using those hashtags is signaling to Instagram that you create content about food, healthy eating, etc. So it's a similar way in which your keywords in your captions work. If you use certain keywords in your captions, the search function will pick up on those keywords and they will categorize or index your content so that they know what type of content you create. So they know that you're an account which shares content about food and healthy eating. They know that that post you just shared is about healthy eating, which means that when their algorithm is deciding how to rank it and who to show it to, they have a better idea of who is actually going to interact and engage with your content. I really hope that makes sense because it can get a bit confusing, but they're essentially saying that hashtags are no longer just a source for your reach, but they're also a way to help categorize or index your content. So what is staying the same? Relevancy is still king. I've been saying this for a while anyway, that using a relevant hashtag is more important than just using a hashtag, right? You've got to use hashtags which are relevant to your account. And that's actually where my previous video came in when I originally spoke about my hashtag strategy, because if you did follow those steps, then you'll actually have quite a substantial bank of hashtags which are super relevant to you and which are relevant to your audience, right? And what that means is that even if you're using fewer hashtags in your posts now, you still have a huge bank of hashtags for you to pick and choose from. So at least that whole video is not to waste. There's still loads of value in it, so that's good. So if you've not watched that video yet, I'll put a link in my description because I 100% recommend that you do. The next thing which hasn't changed, but I feel like not a lot of people kind of realize, is that it's still not enough just to use a hashtag and to kind of assume that your content is going to appear under that hashtag. There is an algorithm, there is a system which is working behind the scenes to rank all of the content which has used the same hashtag as you. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people, including myself, recommend that you don't use hashtags which have billions of posts, because the more posts under a hashtag, the more people you are competing with to appear under that hashtag, right? So to appear under a hashtag, Instagram is actually looking at a couple different things. It's looking at the quality of your content, it's looking at how many people are engaging with your content, it's looking at a bunch of different signals. And once it does all that and it looks for all those signals for your content, that's when it figures out, okay, how highly am I going to actually rank this person's content under this hashtag that they've used? So that's still the same, and that's always something worth noting, because I get a lot of people saying to me, my hashtags aren't working, or, you know, I think I'm shadow banned because I used this hashtag and then I checked it and my post wasn't there. When actually a big reason why your post isn't there is because you're looking at the top posts under your hashtag and you have not made the cut, unfortunately, and you haven't been ranked at the top, and that's why you can't see your post. So that's worth noting, and that has not changed. If you've gotten this far in the video, then I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you're pretty serious about Instagram growth. Now, I have some good news and bad news. I'll start with the bad news first. So the bad news is that it's going to be really difficult for you to actually master Instagram as a platform, grow and experience all the amazing things you want to experience on the platform without fully understanding how it works. And what I'm referring to when I say how it works is understanding the almighty algorithm and understanding how it actually operates. Now, the good news is that I've decided to be super generous, and I've decided to release a masterclass which is all about decoding the almighty algorithm. In this masterclass, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how the Instagram algorithm works, and I've got this information through weeks and weeks of studying Instagram's resources, decoding the information, what they've made available, and actually presenting in a way which is really easy for you to understand. And of course, I give you tips and tricks on how to leverage the algorithm to grow your business, grow your side hustle, pursue your dream of content creation, whatever it is. So head to the link in the description if you'd like to sign up. As I mentioned, it is free. Depending depending on when you're watching this video, you'll either be invited to join a waitlist or you'll be able to select a time slot straight away. So that's my gift to you. But let's get back into the main video. So what do all these changes and updates mean for you and mean for your hashtag strategy? The first thing that it means for you is that you need to start focusing more on search than you are focusing on hashtags. Clearly, search is Instagram's golden child and hashtags have become Instagram's forgotten sibling or like forgotten child. They're clearly focusing on search being the best way for people to find relevant content and for you to get in front of a great audience. So what I want you to do is to start paying attention to the keywords you are using in your captions and the keywords which exist in your bio, because that is what's going to help you show up on search. Hashtags still have a role. I just want you to kind of shift your focus a bit so that you are not spending all your time on hashtags and instead you're splitting your focus and you are giving enough of your time towards search. So the second thing which it means for you, or the second thing to bear in mind now, is that hashtags still have a role, but the role is slightly different to the role which it used to play. So yes, it can still help you get reach, but more importantly, it helps Instagram index your content, which feeds into my previous point about search. Now, the thing to know here is that in order for Instagram to read your hashtags and to use them as a way to index your content, the hashtags need to be in your captions. Now, I have heard so much different stuff about this. I've trialed different ways. Recently, I tried them in my comments and actually I felt like they were performing better. But Instagram have come out and said that regardless of kind of where you think they perform better, in order for Instagram to read them and to use them as a way to index your content, they need to be in your captions. So the golden question, should you still be using hashtags and will I still be using hashtags? And in short, the answer is yes. I will still be using hashtags. And yes, I think you should still use them too. The main change here is that my relationship with hashtags are going to change. I'm no longer putting so much focus and energy on my hashtags, and I'm going to be a lot more loose with the amount of hashtags that I use every post. So previously, I always used between 25 to 30, whereas now I'm basically going to use however many I want, whenever I want, because I know that the key thing I should be focusing on is my keywords and search. You may decide that actually hashtags aren't for you, and actually there's a lot of you who might be like, thank God, because I've always hated hashtags, so I'm never going to use them now. That is up to you. The reason why I'll still use them is because they still serve a purpose. And as far as I am concerned, as long as hashtags are still helping me reach more people, I will continue to use them. So that is in a nutshell what I will be doing with the information that Instagram has recently shared with us in regards to hashtags. That is the end of today's video. I really hope you found it useful. If you did, I recommend checking out this one. It is all about how you can stand out on Instagram amongst all of the noise. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video.